49ers. Faithful, today is one of those days where you look at the standings and at what's going on behind the scenes and you just feel like something big is brewing in the bay. While the team rests, the playoff picture can shift without a single snap being played. One of the top weapons in this offense has turned into a saga, with a surprising name emerging as a possible solution. And the main offensive superstar is closing in on a historic milestone. Drop a like, get settled in, and let's dive into the news. People look at the bye week and say, man, this is boring. But this might be one of the most important weeks of the season for the 49ers, without the team even stepping on the field. San Francisco is 9-4, holding the 7th seed in the NFC, that last chair at the playoff party. After week 14, that's going to change no matter what, and it's going to change for the better. Even standing still, the red and gold is about to climb the ladder. Why? Because one game is carrying a ton of weight for the Niners. Bears versus Packers, a heavyweight NFC North showdown. Chicago is 9-3, pushing for the top of the conference. Green Bay is 8-3-1, fighting to stabilize its wildcard position. And here's the part that should make every 49ers fan smile. There is no result in that matchup that leaves San Francisco stuck. Whatever happens, the Niners move up. If the Packers lose, they drop to 8-4-1, and the 49ers leap them in the seeding, no helmet needed. If Chicago is the one that slips to 9-4, things get even more interesting. The Bears could slide because the tiebreaker runs through conference record, and the 49ers are very strong there. San Francisco's work against NFC opponents turns into real leverage when the race gets tight, and it doesn't stop there. If the Rams and Seahawks also stumble against the Falcons and Cardinals, this goes from nice boost to are you kidding me territory. It becomes realistic to talk about the number 2 seed in the NFC without the team even putting on pads that week. Already thinking about playoff games at Levi's Stadium with the Niner gang going crazy. This bye week shows it's not just about playing good football, it's about using the schedule as a strategic weapon. While other teams come out of the weekend even more beat up, the 49ers can gain position, get their roster healthy, and spend real time studying who truly threatens this playoff run. So tell me, faithful, who do you want to see stumble more? The Bears or the Packers? Who do you see as the more dangerous matchup in January? The situation with Brandon Aiyuk has turned into one of those sore spots that makes every fan uneasy. It's not just some internal discomfort or a rough patch. It's public, it's messy, and the feeling inside the building is that the wide receiver might actually have played his last snap for the 49ers. That puts John Lynch at a serious crossroads. In the middle of that chaos, though, a possibility has surfaced that almost nobody saw coming, and it could reshape this offense for 2025 and beyond. What really complicates the Aiyuk saga is that even the financial effort, the kind of move that usually calms things down, hasn't fixed much. The relationship stretched to the breaking point. And when a player of that caliber checks out emotionally, the team has to act fast. Now, one specific name is floating around that has fans split between shock and excitement: Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts entered the league as a generational tight end prospect and has flashed outrageous talent, even while going through some strange years in Atlanta. We're talking about a guy with size, speed, ball skills, and natural mismatch ability against almost any defender. That alone already makes him an intriguing target. Matt Barrows from The Athletic pointed out that moving on from Aiyuk would open real financial flexibility, and Pitts fits exactly into that kind of opening. Kyle Shanahan has already worked with a similar type of player, Jordan Reed. Anyone who remembers that phase knows how Reed was used as a big slot, creating hybrid looks that drove defenses crazy. Pitts has a similar profile, except he's younger, more explosive, and for many still hasn't come close to his ceiling. This 49ers offense could look very different next year. Juwan Jennings might be gone. Kendrick Bourne's future isn't guaranteed. The receiver room could go through a serious overhaul. In that context, adding a hybrid tight end who can line up inside and attack the intermediate areas with burst makes a lot of sense, especially if that piece comes in to offset the impact lost with Aiyuk's possible departure. Pitts has already topped 3,000 career receiving yards in an unstable environment without a system built to maximize what he does best. Put that skill set inside a disciplined, creative West Coast offense that lives in details like Shanahan's, and this potential signing becomes a chance to unlock a new page in the playbook. While this idea gains traction, the faithful is split. Some want to rip the bandage off and rebuild the passing game immediately. Others are still dreaming of Aiyuk coming back from the brink. Would Pitts be a solution, an upgrade, or an unnecessary risk? We've reached that point of the season where every little detail matters, and for the 49ers, this bye week couldn't have come at a better time. In the middle of this breather, one thing is clear. This rookie class has shown more personality, heart, and maturity than a lot of people expected back on draft night. That could be a massive factor when the final playoff push begins. While some veterans have had to hold everything together, it's been these rookies injecting new energy into the locker room. Take Michael Williams. Before his injury, the kid was showing exactly why he was a first-round pick. The production didn't always show up on the stat sheet, but anyone watching the games knows. He was wrecking interior offensive linemen, opening lanes for Bryce Huff and Nick Bosu to shine. Against the run, it was impressive to watch his power, leverage, and play recognition. Once Bosa went down, all the attention shifted to Williams. Naturally, his impact as a pass rusher dipped, and then came the torn ACL. Even so, 9 games were enough to prove that when he comes back in 2026, Williams has a real chance to be a force up front. Right behind him, you've got Alfred Collins, who almost slipped under the radar early on. He joined late because of injury and contract issues, and it seemed like he might fall behind. But the big man found his groove and turned into a key piece against the run. His physical presence is undeniable. He's still raw in some areas and will have his ups and downs, but the signs are encouraging. He's one of those guys who doesn't always show up in the highlights, yet changes life for the linebackers because he eats up 2 blockers on a regular basis. Then there's Upton Stout, the roller coaster of this secondary. There are snaps where you're convinced he's an absolute steal, first-round talent in a later pick's body. Then there are plays where it's clear why he went at the end of the 4th round. But here's the key. His highs are really high. And for a rookie, that's what matters. Robert Saleh is using him in multiple ways, blitzing off the edge, dropping in zone, lining up in man coverage, helping against the run. And he's handling that workload better than expected. This young core has already shown it doesn't shy away from the big stage. With time to rest and study during the bye, the question becomes, which one of these 3 do you believe can truly explode next season and become a star in this defense? Christian McCaffrey hit the bye week carrying the entire offense on his back, and that's not an exaggeration. We're talking 322 touches in 13 games, leading the NFL, and somehow he still plays with the same juice he had when he first arrived in the Bay. There's a historic milestone waiting for him now. Only 3 players have ever reached it in league history, and one of them is a 49ers legend. Heading into this final stretch, CMC is closing in on joining that exclusive 1,000 to 1,000 club, 1,000 rushing yards and 1,000 receiving yards in the same season. Right now, he's at 849 on the ground and 806 through the air. If everything breaks right over the next few weeks, he could become just the 4th player ever to do it, repeating what he did back in 2019 and placing his name alongside Roger Craig, a true red and gold icon. And let's be honest, faithful. If there's anyone built to pull this off again, it's McCaffrey. But there's one wrinkle that makes this dream even more realistic. The next opponent. The Tennessee Titans, who roll into Santa Clara in Week 15, have just 1 win and a defense that simply can't stop much of anything. They're giving up 4.6 yards per carry on the ground and sit near the bottom of the league against the pass. Even though they haven't allowed many receiving yards to running backs overall, they haven't faced a system like Shanahan's or a weapon as complete as McCaffrey. CMC needs 151 more rushing yards to hit 1,194 through the air to get to 1,000 receiving. Putting both of those numbers up in a single game would be insane, but this matchup is the perfect setup for him to get very close on both fronts, maybe setting up the record to fall in a special game over the following weeks. With the bye week giving a much-needed reset to the most heavily used running back in football, expectations are skyrocketing. Just picture Levi's Stadium exploding with every catch, every big run, every chunk play that pushes him closer to history. Do you think he gets it done already against Tennessee? Or are we waiting a little longer for the 1,000 to 1,000 moment? Faithful, after a day like this, it's impossible not to feel like something huge is being built. The playoff picture opening up on its own, a possible offensive reshuffle taking shape, rookies showing unexpected maturity, and McCaffrey flirting with a historic milestone. Everything points to a San Francisco 49ers team that doesn't just want to go far, but is getting ready to dominate once January hits. Which one of these storylines hit you hardest as a red and gold fan? Drop your thoughts in the comments, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share this with the entire Niner gang. We're riding this all the way to the end together.